Alright, so Invention. Invention is going to be the new 27th skill that Jagex is going to be releasing here, or I guess in my time, in a few weeks. To be more specific, on January 25th, 2016. To kind of give a too long didn't read of what Invention is going to be about. Naturally, I plan to go into more detail than just this, but again, Invention will be released on January 25th, 2016. It will require level 83 skills, that's smithing, divination, crafting. It will go up to level 120, similar how engineering is. It will require 13 million experience for 99 and 104 million experience for 120. Naturally, those aren't flat XP rates. XP requirements, it's just, the general 13 million 104. Obviously, it's a whole bunch of random numbers, but doesn't really matter. It is not scaled up the original skill that they proposed back at RuneFest, where it's like 40 million for 99, and then like 90 or something million or 80 million for 120, something weird like that. There are two major batches, one with the release, and then later on in 2016, and then batch 2 will include machines and stuff like that, and eventually be involved with researching a perk or a new machine or an item, and then you'd be creating that item off of components that you get from breaking down items. So you basically break down an item to components, and then use these components to make new items and new perks and stuff like that. Basically, invention. That is what invention is going to be revolved around, is these new components you get from breaking down items. And these machines will involve several different types of perks and uses. One that they did confirm, not sure if it's still in the main batch or second batch, but they did say that they were planning on releasing a bowstring maker. Basically put flax into it and whatever components, and you get bowstrings from it. That is something they did confirm. Not sure if it's still there. That was like a year ago. Cross my fingers it's included, but that is one example of a machine that will be used. Now to get more into detail of what this skill is kind of involved of, it will be a new skill to level up your items. You will basically augment an item, or a weapon, an armor piece, or a skilling tool, and you can add perks to this new item, and you can level it up as well. I'll get more into detail on that as well as in a bit. And there'll be new text trees that kind of categorize these new perks and machines. It won't all just be in one family. It's going to be different sorted text trees. So kind of get into perks. So perks, like I mentioned earlier, they are from components that you get from breaking down items. How I'm kind of thinking of it is like pineapple, for example. I have 10,000 pineapples in my bank, so I'm kind of crossing my fingers that those will be useful. Kind of assume so, because they did say any item that can be high out can be broken down into components, which is basically 99.9999% of items in this game. So basically anything can be broken down except for very few items. Some components are very specific and they only come for certain items. Think a Drygor rapier, for example. A Drygor rapier can be broken down to assorted different components, and maybe a Drygor component, and naturally a Drygor component can only come from Drygor weaponry, or even maybe a Kalphite defender or Drygor defender. Maybe, maybe not. They did say they are including defenders into Invention. Not sure what they meant by that, but they did say they plan on having it done in the first batch, if not later on in one of the updates. And again, with Invention, it won't just be 2 huge batches. There will be updates throughout the entire year, similar to really anything else in this game. So it's not just 2 major batches. There will be updates throughout the entire year related to Invention. These new components that you get from breaking down the items will go into a new interface. So you will not be using up bank spaces. Hooray! Don't get to waste 50 freaking bank spaces of these new components, because if you see in the BTS, there are lots of new components, which will be really hectic to have to sort in your bank and to take up bank spaces. And luckily for us, they decided to be nice and make a new interface, which sorts it all out for us by category and possibly by name, who knows, but maybe by tech family is what I'm thinking of, because there are certain components involved with these new families. How I'm kind of thinking these components can be used into a perk is, again, let's bring the pineapple into the situation. A pineapple can be broken down into a living component. And again, a living component can be produced from a living material, i.e. pineapple, a papaya fruit, a coconut, a watermelon, anything you could really categorize that is living, essentially a fruit, maybe raw fish. Because a cooked fish, I don't really think I would consider a cooked fish alive anymore. Raw fish, why not? It still has a possibility of being alive, but a cooked fish, yeah, there's no hope for a cooked fish being alive anymore. But then let's say you can break down a weapon poison plus, and you break that down to like a disease component. Again, these are my theories. These aren't confirmed, but again, I like to think that they will be confirmed or something of the sort. And you can take this living component and this disease component, combine them to, or whatever, however invention will actually work. And to create a perk that you can add into an augmented weapon, let's say a Drago Rapier again. So you can add a permanent effect to this Drago Rapier, or not really quote-unquote permanent, but it will have an X amount of charges, which will be determined by your invention level, the perk used, all sorts of different factors. It's very complicated to get into. Again, as someone who doesn't work for Jagex, this is just based off of theory and observation. But what you can do with this new perk is that you can inflict your opponent for an X amount of damage and or time. Similar to how Poison actually works at the moment, except now you apply it to actually your weapon. How it did previously, the Dragon Dagger P++. Similar to that, except it works for an X amount of time or charges instead of just a permanent effect, and it will give invention experience, which again, I'll get more on that too in a bit. Components will be used for everything involved with invention, whether it be adding perks, creating machines, using machines, or anything of the sort. Now, more on using machines, they'll more likely have an energy source. Human tech will be involved with energy. Goblin would be involved like a light bulb, like not electronic, but like electricity. And the Dwarven would be more like a coal. Again, I'll get more of that when I get into tech families. Now, components or perks will be more varied with your invention level. Higher invention level, you'll get better components. You'll have more of a chance of getting better components and better chance to get, let's say, the crappy components. So the higher invention level, the better you will get components. Think similar to an iron bar. The higher your smithing level, I think it caps like level 80, the higher chance you have at creating an actual iron bar, because at level 15 or level 20, whatever smithing level you need for iron bar, it's honestly been like probably a decade since I've smithed an iron bar, got a level required to smith an iron bar, so don't judge me, I don't know the level to smith the damn iron bar. But think about that. So at first you have a 50% chance, and then it caps at 80% at level like 60 or 70. Again, I don't exactly make iron bars, so don't judge me on my iron bar knowledge. But yeah, so that's how it's similar. It's gonna work. So higher invention level, the more components you get, and the better components you will get from breaking down an item. There are over 120 different perks, and they all vary between actual usefulness, I guess something similar to adding a bleed or a poison effect to your weapons, to something that's completely pointless, like it can make like your opponent just have like, I don't know, when it dies, it can have like it turn into like pile of flowers, I guess you can say. It's like fun or pointless, something that doesn't do anything, but it's something there. And I guess it kind of includes in the fun perks. There are many fun perks that can do all type of wacky and fun things that, again, really don't do anything, but you can have them if you want, if you're into that type of thing. And it's some that are actually pretty OP. I'm kind of thinking more of an accuracy or a damage boost. Maybe like 5% actual damage boost, or maybe something small like 3%. But 5%, I can see that happen, to be honest. Perks aren't limited to just weapons. They are going to be included, and they mentioned this in stream about a month or two ago, that they will be involved with hatchets, pickaxes, harpoons, and I want to say fishing rods. There you go, fishing rods. I was like, I want to say lobster cage, but I'm not saying too sure about that. The fishing rods, yes. You can augment dragon hatchet and cano pickaxe, infernal adze, and harpoon and a fishing rod, as well as crystal pickaxe. I throw that in a crystal pickaxe. So crystal pickaxe, crystal hatchet. You can augment those to add perks to them to increase woodcutting rates or whatever these crazy things can do. Who knows? Again, I don't work for Jagex. I'm just basing off of facts that we do know that are confirmed. Only augmented items can hold perks. You can't just turn any ordinary item and add perks to them. And only high-level weaponry, generally it's level 70 plus. It's not like only 90. It's generally level 70 plus that you can use for armor and weaponry. And again, like I said, skilling tools, hatchets, pickaxes, harpoons, and fishing rods, as well as some wacky, fun items like rubber chickens and flowers. Augmented items can be leveled up to increase the perk that is held onto it, as well as be able to hold more perks. Think of Hunter. At Hunter, level 1, you could hold 1 trap, level 22, level 43, level 64, and level 85. Think similar to that. The higher level your invention, as well as your augmented item, the more perks it can hold. Again, I don't know what levels are required, but again, you'll be able to hold more perks the higher invention level and the higher the augmented item is. Higher level items also have less of a chance of a charge being used. I don't really know a good example of that, but again, if you have level 1 invention, you probably have a 100% chance of a charge being used. At level 120, you probably have like 30% chance of it being used. Actually, again, the iron bar example, you have a higher chance of actually finding that ore at higher smithing levels compared to when you first can actually use that iron ore. Again, same thing here. With the actual base level for that item, you probably use the charge 100% of the time. In the higher invention level, it probably ticks down by a certain percentage or some weird formula they have going on over there. 20% invention will be trained by actually using these new items. So instead of just breaking things down all the time, 20% of it will be involved with actually using these items and creating these new items and unaugmenting them or removing the perks from them. So quite a big chunk of the experience from Invention will be actually using Invention. Different from other skills where it's just kind of the same repetitive thing. You'll actually use these skills. Think of divination. You'll think of what 20% of divination XP would have been involved with making divine locations or transmuting items. Instead of these small XP drops, it's going to be major XP drops with Invention. Each item could hold the 4 perks. Again, similar to Hunter Traps. Again, it will be it will be involved with your Invention level as well, and each perk will have 3 different tiers. So kind of like a basic, a normal, and I guess like a supreme tier. Again, theory, facts, I don't know exactly what they'll be called, but I'm assuming it's something similar to those. Or maybe they'll do Roman numeral 1, Roman numeral 2, Roman numeral 3. Maybe something basic like that. Yeah, who knows. Perks do not stack with each other. So you can't add, let's say 5% accuracy boost. You can't add 3 of those to get 15% accuracy boost, because, that's kind of OP. But what you can do is you can add different perks together. Again, up to 4. So you can probably add 30% damage, 30% accuracy, and, let's say the bleed effect. And then let's throw in turning your component into a pile of flowers when it dies. You could add all 4 of those, but you can't multiply those by 4. Going to do 1 of each per item. These new augmented items won't exactly degrade and be recharged or repaired by coins. They will instead be recharged by divine energy. So divination energy will have quite a big faction or impact on Invention due to this small perk. And again, divine energy will also power up machines as well. Again, I'll get back into that later with the tech families. As well as making augmented items and perks, you can turn components or, use components to make new machines. And these new machines will, again, do all the sorts of things. Again, I'm crossing my fingers for that bowstring maker, but these machines will gather resources or do whatever they do at a slower rate than you actually would naturally. Again, it's probably 1,200, 1,300 bowstrings per hour. It will probably do more like 200, 300 per hour instead of 1,300 or even 5,000 per hour. And it will basically be lossless as well. So again, it's not really a big deal the fact that it's slower. Think of managing miscellanea. You throw one GP in there, you tell it what to do, you come back a week later and you collect your shit. Same thing. You throw in a bunch of crap into the machine, you come back a couple hours, few days, few weeks, few months, whatever later, and you just collect it and do whatever you want to do with it. Now, another major portion of invention will be discovery. Again, you will gain experience for discovery, so it's not just something to do. You'll get some experience from it, so it won't be too bad. It may be good experience. Again, I don't know. But you will, confirmed, get experience from it, which I guess that's what everyone really cares about, right? Is to get some experience. And from the seems looks of it, it's kind of free part of it. But it will require components to discover things. I'll get more in that part in just a little bit. And the discovery process will unlock new perks, new machines, improving disassembly. Again, similar to how you higher invention level, you'll get better components from it. So you could probably do a different research discovery to get to know how to break things down better and more efficiently to get better components and whatnot, whatever that can involve. Again, we really don't know too much about invention. This is just theory and facts. So how you discover things is you set as a research project. And you can get unlocked more research projects the higher invention level will be. So you can't just unlock everything at level 1. It's kind of just higher invention level, the more research projects you can set up. And you can discover new machines, perks, etc., etc., etc. It's kind of how invention will work. It's kind of all focused on this discovery portion of this skill. And the discovery process involves using inspiration. This involves just from playing the game. And it doesn't just limit to invention. You could do fishing, and it will give you inspiration that you could use towards invention. Now, of course, this kind of be a bit tricky, because I'm kind of assuming that invention, or using invention, will give you a lot more inspiration than just doing fishing. Now, that's kind of curious about how doing fishing work. I'm kind of assuming you can get inspiration similar to how you get prawn balls from fishing, or how you can get, like, I guess a special teak log from a teak tree. This kind of small chance is something they get, and it kind of just pops out of nowhere. Or you get like an effigy from combat. It's not limited to skilling you get from combat. You can do anything really that involves an action and that can be tracked and be given based off an X actions or X amount of time or X amount of experience. However they have it set up. Again, I don't know too much about it. This is just what I know. And once you have enough inspiration, you can do like a little small puzzle, like a micro game, kind of like a mini game, but like really a lot smaller. And you kind of involve a blueprint, and you kind of, I guess, puzzle it all together. You kind of design the blueprint to get it properly made. And then once you do make that blueprint properly, you unlock a new perk, machine, or an item. And then once you do that, you can actually start using that perk, machine, or an item. So again, once you unlock or gather inspiration, you put yourself into a discovery stage and you create this blueprint yourself, and then you unlock a perk or a machine or an item. Discovery is done at a workbench, and from what it sounds, you can build these workbenches just about anywhere. It's not limited to just your workshop. It's not limited to just about wherever you're specifically supposed to train an invention. You could just train it anywhere you want. That's what it seems like to me. Probably similar to a portable station. These wells and fletching stations, or whatever these things are called. As an Iron Man, I really don't know what these things are called because I can't exactly use them. I just kind of see them around every now and then. And whatever I look at them, like, oh, cool. So, whatever they're called, I'm assuming it's something similar to that. Yeah, so think something similar to that, and that's how you do discovery, and possibly make items with these workbenches as well. It's quite what it seems like. You can add your augmented weapon or item onto there, and that is how you add your perks on there, is by using this workbench. As well as just unlocking a new perk or an item or anything, you will still also gain experience from making this blueprint. and you'll get a pretty big chunk of experience, which seems like a one-time though. Naturally, you can't just rediscovering a perk, an item, or a machine, and just keep doing that over and over and over again for training. It's just a one-time thing. There's over 120 perks, so again, quite a bit of experience can possibly come from it, depending on how much experience comes from it. Remember, only 20% of invention experience is from using the actual items, so a big part of it could be from discovery. Because again, they want to use invention post 200 mil or 99 or whatever your end game goal is. So this could be the way that we train invention. We train invention by breaking things down. We discover them, we make them, and then that's basically invention force. And then invention would kind of be useful, no matter what. And unlike fishing or woodcutting, it's completely pointless once you're 99, 120, 200 mil. You can actually use invention and actually want to use invention. So I kind of assume that's how invention be trained. Now to get more into the tech trees. The tech trees are kind of something interesting to me. The tech trees will have 3 classes: human, cave goblin, and dwarven. Now these different tech trees have different perks, items, machines to them. They're completely different, but they are related because they do have the same concept to them, but just their own unique traits. Now the first tech tree is the human tech tree, and now that is unlocked for everybody at level 1. You log in that day and you start trading with the human tech tree. And the human tech tree will have 20 levels of content, so it's kind of decent, but it will just give you a head start to understand invention. And the human tech tree machines and stuff like that will be focused more around divine energy, because again, humans were the discoverers of divination as well. So it's only naturally that we use these divine energies that we learn to control and use and make use of for our own tech tree. And then once you get level 20, once you basically maximize the human tech tree out, you can start using the cave goblin and dwarven technology. You can choose one path and then you can choose the other later on. You can add that to have 3 total tech trees together, so you're not completely locked out of it. You can choose whichever you want. You'll still benefit from all 3 at the end of it all. Now the cave goblin tech tree, as I mentioned earlier, it's kind of like a power source. It's going to be like off of electricity. Not really too sure how that works. Maybe we'll add like bullseye lanterns or something of the sort, even though bullseye lanterns are more of a candle. But again, who knows? It may be a brand new item that we have to make or craft. Again, the invention may change crafting, divination, and smithing. I'm assuming it will. So, and maybe brand new items we could train with crafting, smithing, and divination once Invention comes out. Now, something cool, or a few cool things you made the Cave Goblin is you can make a stealth mode. Now, the stealth mode is kind of more of a PKing perk. Now, what it does is you in your little mini map have your white dot, and NPCs have a yellow dot. It will turn your little white dot into a yellow dot. That way, you seem like you're just an NPC wandering on the wilderness, and your opponent or whoever you're trying to sneak up on won't think a thing. So you come out and you just ambush them, and that is exactly what it does. It improves your ambushing skills, to put it in more perspective. There will also be a dungeoning floor mapper, which is kind of on the assumption it automatically updates your dungeoning map and may throw the keys and level requirements of what skill required to open those up. So once you open up your dungeoning map, it'll tell you exactly what those doors are, instead of just going, I don't remember what that was. It will tell you, instead of you having to remember or download a third-party software to exactly know what those were, or using any sort of tracking system that you have. It'll just do it for you instead. There will also be a new butler, similar to the demon butler. It will have the same speed, so it won't be an improvement, but it may, and hopefully, I'm honestly hoping it will have some unique perks to it. Maybe it can do, I don't even know, I can't even think of anything. But hopefully they can. If not, it would be a cool new NPC, I guess you could say, you can hire for your butler. But again, it'd be the same thing as a demon butler, but just a little different. It's a mind-controlling monkey. I mean, I'm personally going to do that. That seems pretty sick to me. So, yeah. And the Cave Goblin tech tree will also involve a flash bomb, which will increase thieving as well. I'm assuming it's going to be pretty useful at dwarf traders. It'll bump up dwarf traders into the million XP per hour mark. So what it does, it will stun an NPC, a single NPC, so you can't just do like a huge area and just pickpocket from all of them. But it'll increase your pickpocket chance of success, similar to the Crystal Mask, except it'll stun your NPC instead of improving your thieving performance. And the Dwarven tech tree, the Cave Goblin is electricity, and the human tech tree is off divine energy. It'll be powered by coal. I'm not sure if it's coal we already have in the game, or if it's a new item. I'm assuming it's by the actual item we already have in the game. It will be a unique, interesting way to implement coal into an invention. Makes sense as well. Now, some of the Dwarven tech will involve a sprinkler, which you can add to your allotments to prevent them from a disease. And as you may know, if your allotments get diseased, they die. So this new sprinkler will prevent your allotments from ever dying. Now, it's not exactly free because you have to make it, you have to charge it, and you have to pay upkeeps. So it's not going to be free. Might not honestly be worth it because, I mean, unless you're a low-level farmer, it's not really that worth it. But again, it is pretty unique and interesting item to throw into an invention. And there'll also be a new quote-unquote anti-Chinchampa. Now, what this does is kind of interesting to me as well. So what it does is every time you don't get mining XP or a resource, you will charge up this new item. And this new item does is once it gets filled up, you can, collect XP from it. And you get mining XP from it. More to say. And possibly an invention. It seems like the way everything works in Invention, you also get an invention experience from it. So it's going to be a pretty useful item for those of you training, mining and invention at the same time. Kind of like a 2-in-1. I'm pretty damn interested in that item. That's kind of the biggest item I'm interested in the entire skill, to be completely honest. Because I'm very interested in how good it will be. Especially places some like Sandstones who are not exactly quote-unquote accurate, where they said you just get big XP drops. I'm curious on how exactly they'll factor that. But again, I don't want to gossip too much about something I really don't know too much about. Just kind of, again, I'm basing off facts and rumors, and not really rumors, I'm basing off facts. But facts and theories. So again, I don't want to talk too much about something I don't have a clue what it is. And there will be another item, which I don't really see how this will be useful, but what it does, it will switch your spell book, your prayer book, I apologize, from curses to regular or vice versa. Again, I don't really see how that'd be useful. The only time I've ever really done that was for Nomad's Requiem, so I don't really know where that's going to be useful, but I guess people make a unique way to do that. And then there will be another, I'm also pretty interested in as well, pretty comparable, I guess I lied earlier, 2 major items I'm interested in. And that's a mind-leeching device which turns combat XP into skilling XP. So you go out and you train Slayer, and instead of gaining combat XP, you'll gain, I don't even know, woodcutting XP. I don't know exactly how it'll work, but it sounds very, very interesting on how exactly it'll work. Again, I don't know much about it. They've kind of just mentioned it and just said, yeah, it's going to do this. So we can only theorize over exactly what it'll do. And then last part of Invention to mention is the guilds. Probably everyone has heard about this. These new guilds will be similar to a player-owned house. So it will have hotspots where you can build certain machines or certain decorations. And these decorations might be just big decorations, or they might be how similar to the aquarium is. And these decorations might add some small perks to whatever. I'm very interested in this as well. And what you could do with these guilds, it's kind of be the whole entire Invention wrap-up area. Everything to do with the Invention is kind of go to this one guild. Kind of like a little workshop. You can hire people to work the machines as well. Which, again, is kind of added the losses on there. I'm kind of on the assumption the more employees you have in there, and actually I'm kind of assuming there'd be a cap. Because you don't want to have 100 people and just swarmed up in your guild, just freaking not able to do anything at all. So I'm kind of assuming it's under a cap. But obviously, like I said, with these more workers, the more resource and items per hour you can obtain from this machine. And with these guilds as well, they will have the 3 categories: the human, goblin, and the dwarven. So it'd be kind of unique decorations you could throw in there, those 3 categories. But yeah, I think that's just about everything that is really theorized and known about Invention so far. I apologize if I missed anything small, but again, this did cover up just about every major aspect. And I did quite a few hours of research before I made this, hence like the half-hour long video, because there's quite some Invention detail to go into it. And I'm not going to blame you if you're confused. Everybody's confused, I'll tell you that right now. Nobody has a clue what the hell they're hearing or reading whenever they're looking into Invention. It is going to be a very, very unique and interesting skill. But yeah, like with anything that's really confusing when you first hear about it, it'll become secondhand nature to us once we get a hang of it. So don't worry too much about being confused for much longer, because once it comes out, I bet you in a week, you'll have the entire skill down, and it won't be a problem at all. And I bet you anything, it's going to be an absolutely amazing, game-changing skill. There's absolutely no reason to not look forward to this skill, no matter who you are, whether you're a skiller, a slayer, a PVMer, or I guess if you're just a role player or something, maybe won't matter to you that much. But again, it will basically change everybody's gameplay, and I'm really looking forward to it. But again, hopefully this brought out some insight of maybe something that you didn't know or think about or understand. Yeah, so I hope this helped any of you out. And yeah, I'll see you guys competing for 99 Invention, and 120 Twitter Mill on the 25th.